Go ahead and kick it off. Professor Black Ops, Cybersecurity for the People. I have my special guest, Jeff. So I just wanted to bring him on. I think I shortchanged him on my little emblem. He's actually an enterprise architect. I want to make sure I give him his due respect of an enterprise architect. So we worked together for a while. So let me click this button here too so we can take the background off. So I wanted to bring him to the panel, to the fellas, so we can talk about enterprise architect security, how it really rolls in the real world. So Jeff, if you don't mind, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Jeff. I'm Jeff Hancock. I am an architect, recovering architect. I work with John at the Department of Revenue. We worked together at Conseco many, many years ago. So I know John from way back. We still talk.
We do. I think you were so back in those Conseco days. I was way
So,
down the pyramid back then. Go ahead, Jeff. I think we got a little feedback, but I think we're okay.
You're clipping a lot.
I am. I'm about to slow the things. I'm about to slow down the stream.
All right.
Let's see. I am got it. But go ahead and keep rolling. We'll see what's going on with it. Let's see.
You just want me to dive into the questions you sent me?
I was going to ask you first. Let's see. What's your educational background? You probably got a lot of. Jeff, can you hear me? Can you hear me, Jeff? Let's see. That's excellent.
I can.
Go ahead and talk about your education. I'm gonna flip it off after we're done. Go ahead and jump in your education on the questions.
Okay, I'm not as techy as all of you people are hoping for, but bear with me and I'll tell you how this architecture stuff really works. As far as background, I'm getting kind of tired. A very long time. I started out as a really good student till I got to high school, and then that teenage angst thing set in, and my grades fell. But a pivotal moment in my life, and the teacher managed to get us an old TTY terminal with a 50 acoustic modem, was hooked to a mainframe at Ohio State University. And we had the opportunity to write it was either Fortran or BASIC program to person in, it was me, but I was hooked. I knew that this is what I wanted to do. So I graduated high school probably in the top third of my class, maybe the top half. And I went to college to learn about auto parts because my family was in the auto parts business. And I dropped out of college, key employee. So I worked in the auto parts industry from 14 until I was 27. And I did the entire range of jobs. I delivered parts in a truck. I worked the counter. I was a buyer. I was a manager. Did it all. At 24, I decided that that's not what I wanted to do. I wanted to go back to that high school dream. And so I went to college at night at IUPUI. I began my second career in IT at 29. I started out as a programmer and advanced to be a systems analyst. I did research and development. I worked on new products. I worked on new technologies. Um, I was working on artificial intelligence back in the early 90s when it was very new. In fact, it was a solution in search of a problem at the time. I've been a manager. I've been an enterprise architect for about the last 20 years. In addition to having other responsibilities like working with John and doing security and managing an imaging implementation. It's all stuff like that. In my mid-30s, I decided to go to grad school. So I went to grad school. So you wanted my educational background. I got three things I want to talk about. First, I want to talk about the education I got from my grandfather. My grandfather used to make all of us kids stand up on a stool in the middle of family gatherings and sing a song or recite a poem or read something out of a book. And I asked him about that as I got a little older, and he said, I did that because you need to be comfortable talking in front of people. If you can do that, important and something I talk about later. I got a BS in that educational endeavor. I learned three things. I learned how business works. I learned quantitative thinking. And because of the wondrous thing called course substitution, I learned how to program computers. Then I went to grad school when I was 34. I graduated when I was 38. And I got an MBA. And at the time at IU, you could concentrate your MBA. So mine was concentrated in management information systems and organizational development. So the two things I took away from that were end user computing and business process reengineering, which was a big thing back in the early 90s. So we're up to question 4, John.
Keep going. Just keep rolling. Keep rolling.
All right. Well, the next question you gave me was, how did you get into the IT field? Well, I told you what got me interested in it. It was that aha moment of failure in my junior algebra. My undergrad, I managed to get a internship with LS Airs. Now, I don't know how old your listening audience is, but LS Airs doesn't exist anymore. But it was a department store. It's now Macy's. But I was doing some management information work for the guy who ran their distribution center. Mm-hmm. And that was a lot of fun. But when the internship was over, he sat me down and talked to me. He actually offered me a job, the line functions at the distribution center, because he says in IT, you're a staff function. And staff functions aren't very stable. But if you're in a line function, your job is much more stable. And I have to say that 40 years later, he was right. But I still made the decision at that point that, so I did it, and I am not sorry. I have never had a bad day at work. I've had challenging days, but I've never had a bad day. After that, I went to work for a little accounting firm in Columbus, because when I graduated at 29, I found out this thing called ageism. I wasn't your typical new college grad. I wasn't 22 years old. I was 29. And I had a lot of trouble getting interviews and offers with people that were looking for entry-level positions. So I got this one, and it only lasted about 6 months, and we got tired of each other. So I then got into other things. So I've worked for commercial off-the-shelf vendors. I've worked for real companies who made and sold things. I've done consulting. I've done consulting. You ready for the next one?
Yeah, go ahead. We breaking up on the sound, but it sounds decent. Tiny said we breaking
Okay,
up a
the
little bit.
next question. All right. So the next question was, how did you become an architect? Well, I think with three things. One is you need to be able to think big and be objective and logical. And you need to come up with the best one. And you need to see the ramifications of any solution you might propose. Second thing is you need to be able to communicate at all. That being an architect bosses, you need to be able to talk to the person who is on the front line, sitting in their cube, taking the flack from the customer. The last thing is you need to take rejection personally. You are going to win some and you're going to lose a lot. And you just need to roll with it.
No, that's true. Like you said,
So the question John gave me is, what are the...
keep going. Said I'm working. Keep.
All right. The next architect's duties and skills. All right, here are the duties. I think main duty is you got to see the future. You got to be far looking, see the picture. You got to be able to come up with a vision and communicate. And you need to communicate it so that business people understand and programs understand. You need to form a gap analysis so that you can get from where to where you're pointing that gap analysis to show how filling in those gaps to get from present state to future state is actually evil and evil. Evangelize what it is you want to accomplish. There are a lot of people who won't have a clue what you're talking about and just don't understand. You got to understand that failure's part of the game. Because everybody sometimes needs to get in the way while you're architect. So what kind of skills do you need to do that?
Yep.
First of all, you need talking in front of. You need written communication. You need to be able to where it is that you want to go, and then you need to and explain well to buy enough time to tell somebody what you're trying to do. Pictures worth 1,000 words? Absolutely. You need to be able to draw it out so people can look at it and ask you questions. You need to figure out how to get there. Thing is, you need to rate problem require technology solution, harder things. We've really moved on from automating the current state. That's what we did back in the early days of computing, back in the 50s, 60s, and 70s. We took the processes we were doing and automated them. So that's where we got the term back in the 60s. I've been replaced by a button. Well, technology has moved so far beyond that that you now need to reimagine how to do any sort of process to take advantage of the leverage you get from technology. It's no longer about speeding things up. It's about doing it better. You need to understand your allies and your adversaries. They're OP. That's totally different. Who are your adversaries? Well, there are people who don't change. There are powerful people who don't change. There are also powerful people who don't want it in your way the most. And those are the.
Let's see. I'm gonna delete it anyway. Let me see. Come on, in stream. I think I need a more powerful workstation. Come on. Let me see. I can see this online when it ends. I got it rolling on my phone too. Let's see. I think I need to get more memory. My machine's locked up. Let me shut that down. Oh, and I still think we on. I'm about to kill it. Oh. Come on, come on, come on. Looks like it's. What's going on with this thing? Come on. Hold on, I'm still killing it. It's hanging on there.